want to thank my friends and colleagues for being here this morning. Thanking Brad and Tony and JGR for not only standing here, but for standing with immigrant New Yorkers. And as Jessica said, we are here in a neighborhood that so many immigrants call home. And we are here speaking about not only our vision for this city as it should be, but also the reality of the city as it is today. You know, yesterday, a video was brought to light that Brad shared with our colleague, State Senator Gustavo Rivera, showcasing the very acts that shocked the conscience, not just of New Yorkers, but of Americans from coast to coast across this entire country. The wife of a detained man begging an ICE agent to free her husband. When he ignored her, she pleaded to be taken too. And behind her stood 2 young children. And after taunting her with a response of adios, adios, suddenly that agent threw her to the ground. The kids began to cry, traumatized by the sight of their mother being assaulted in a government building. And when she was released, she said, "In Ecuador, they beat us there too. I didn't think I'd come here to the United States and the same thing would happen to me." And we welcome the news that that officer has been relieved of their duties. And yet what shocked us was not simply that act, but was the fact that we knew that that act is taking place every day across this country. Oftentimes unseen, unnoticed, and unabashed in its cruelty. And it's important that we describe it, that we stand up to it, because if we do not, it becomes normalized. It was only because of the response to this act that that officer has been relieved. And it is only from the responses from those who have been standing on the front lines of this fight, and so many Americans across the country, that we will finally hold this administration accountable for the ways in which they have torn apart the very fabric of this country. And we know that where New York City should reject these horrors, we have instead had a city hall and an administration that has embraced them. One that has accepted a deal that would wrap the personal freedom of this mayor intertwined with the assistance of an immigration agenda of this federal administration. And we know what happened yesterday is just par for the course, where a mayor is willing to broker a deal with a president no matter the cost it comes to the people that he's elected to serve. Willing to enmesh ICE in our jails, on our streets, in day-to-day life across this city. And I look at those around me who showcase the model for how we can stand up for this city, who go to 26 Federal Plaza again and again to try and shed some light on the ways in which not only is this administration breaking the law, judgments from court orders, but also doing so in a brazen fashion that is as if gleeful in the cruelty they impart upon New Yorkers. And I will be a mayor who will finally turn the page on this chapter of our city. A mayor who not only defends but is proud of our sanctuary city laws. One that recognizes that they are laws that keep us safe. One that looks at this city and the 40% of its residents who were born outside of this country as just as New York as anyone else. And one that commits to hiring the 200 lawyers such that our law department can finally return to pre-pandemic levels. One that ensures we increase legal representation of immigrant New Yorkers who are under attack. And one that learns from the manner in which we took on the first Trump administration, where we had a city hall that was willing to protect immigrant New Yorkers' personal information lest it be used for the purposes of facilitating a deportation machine. And while I will do these things, I will do so in stark contrast to a former governor, Andrew Cuomo, who, as Assemblymember Simone has said, has not only been quiet amidst this kind of repression, whether it be the attack on this mother or the detaining of a 6-year-old girl right in the neighborhood where Assemblywoman Gonzalez Rojas represents, but also a man who told New Yorkers shocked at the actions of this administration in California and said, let's not overreact. A man who got on the debate stage alongside Controller Lander and myself and called undocumented New Yorkers illegals. And a man for whom Federal Plaza is a place that he dare not name, because lest it complicate his effort to work with this president to subvert the will of Democratic primary voters. And so I stand here thinking not just of that woman, not just of her 2 children, not just of her husband, but also of the countless whose names we do not know, whose faces we have never seen, and who are one part of the story of a shadow that has descended upon our nation, of the ripping up of the very words that Comptroller Lander began this press conference with, and a betrayal of the values that make so many of us so proud to belong to this city. And we stand here in recognition of that betrayal and in a shared commitment and purpose to once again live up to those ideals, because those ideals will endure far longer than the ones who are in power betraying them today. Thank you so much.